Hello there, fellow NPCs. I'm Scythe, and today we're getting back into the house in Fata Morgana. We are learning a lot about Michel here. The fact that he used to be Michel, a girl, and how he's been fighting for being accepted as a man, how he has been having to fight his entire life, that something is wrong with him. But he didn't know what. He just knew that he didn't want to be a girl, essentially. So yeah, we will be learning more about Michel, the before years. So that's it. Let's go. Didier. Michel, hold on. You can't come barging into my room unannounced. I'm trying to change. We need to talk. I said stop. You're a girl. You can't just walk in on a man as he's changing. I see no reason for you to be self-conscious. Listen to me, Michel. Georges tells me you're planning to overhaul the order. He told you that? No, I hardly have such grand aspirations. Don't be coy. I believe you have what it takes to do it, Didier. What's gotten into you? You're unusually fiery today. So I want to ask you a favor. When you have enough influence in the order, I would like you to make me a knight too. You what? I'm tired of the way Mother treats me. Always saying I can't do this or do that because I'm a girl. I want to learn how to swing a sword. I don't want to do embroidery. I don't care about jewelry or fancy clothing. Michel, what's gotten into you? I'm so much more interested in the world you live in, Didier. So please. Well, I'll be. I suppose we must have let ourselves spend too much time with you. Oh no. He's really saying that you became this way because you've been hanging around us too much. So we need to set boundaries here and now. Not you two, that's exactly what Mother said. First of all, Michel, you don't have the strength to hold a sword. Then I'll train until I do. And if that doesn't work, I still have my mind. You know good and well I could. People are not chess pieces, Michel. But Didier. But above all, you're missing the most important point. I will not, for any reason, become the kind of man who makes a woman take up a sword. Yeah. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but something that we know nowadays is that he's not making the woman take a sword in this case. He would be allowing her to do as she pleases, you know. Didier. This may seem normal to you, growing up with two brothers, but I want you to listen to me, Michel. Men and women walk different paths. Men wield swords and fights against dangerous enemies, and they do so to protect the weak, women and children. I am here to protect you and your mother. You're no different than her. You don't treat me any different than her. Honestly, what's gotten into you, Michel? Why wouldn't I treat you like a daughter of the Bollinger estate? Your brother and I, we never meant to make you think. Forget it. What? I'm sorry. I knew what I was asking for was foolish. Oh? But I thought you would understand how I feel. Even just a little bit. What was I expecting him to understand? Even I didn't understand the things I felt. I wanted to know what had gotten into me far more than he did. What I had done was no better than throw a temper tantrum. Was I that desperate to become a knight? No. I had just thought that the key to the change in my heart lay down that road, but ultimately, there was nothing. And assuming I did become a knight, it wouldn't do anything for the core problem. As I dashed from my brother's room, I snuck a peek at him. His face was filled with an intense perplexity. And how could I blame him? I had tried to push a dozen different ideals onto him at once. Filled myself with a vain hope that he would somehow be able to make sense of me when I couldn't even make sense of myself. And now, bubbling with unwarranted anger at being let down, I fled to my own chambers. I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been for him. It was the spring of my 14th year. Heavy clouds filled the sky, blocking out the sun and giving the impression of late evening all throughout the day. I, for one, preferred it when the sun wasn't out. Not that sunlight would kill me, but if it was bright enough, the whole world was so white I could hardly see a thing. Which meant I could only go outside on days when the weather made most everyone else gloomy. As I was meandering through the courtyard, I spotted someone I had never seen before. A warm breeze blew past, sending up a swirl of flower petals. The girl's dress hung lightly over her frame, tracing her gentle curves. "Who are you?" I asked bluntly, and the girl twirled around, smiling. "Oh! I'm Amy. Yeah, right, I did check that out. It's Amy. It's very similar to Amy. Amy. But who was it that had that name? Was it the village head? I don't remember. My apologies. You just have such a beautiful courtyard here, I let myself in for a little walk." Long chestnut hair flowed over her round feminine shoulders. It swayed slightly in the wind. The cloud of melancholy dissipated in the light of her smile. "You must be Michelle. You're just as pretty as I heard. And you are?" "My name is Amy. It's a pleasure to finally meet you." Finally meet me? What was she talking about? As I stood there, baffled by this strange woman, she stepped toward me, kissing me softly on the cheek. "I'm thrilled to make your acquaintance, Michelle." Her voice was like someone pouring honey into my ear, electrifyingly sweet. "I'm George's fiancé." And it also stuck another needle into my chest. Yeah. I guess they must have told in the flashback when they were reminiscing about the first love that her name was Amy. Amy. She was a noble girl by the name of Amy Hubert. Amy Hubert. Though only 15, she was the very image of refined, polished to a shine. No one had told me my brother was to be married. It came out of nowhere, and it seemed I was the only one who didn't know. That evening, when the family gathered around the table for supper, Amy was there too, and they prepared an extravagant feast for the occasion. My father Antonin looked so proud of his two boys, Didier soon to receive his assignments, and Georges soon to be wed. The banquet proceeded smoothly. Not a doubt in the air that we were a happy family, but my mind was elsewhere. I found myself unconsciously chasing Amy with my eyes, watching the way those slender fingers gripped her spoon, her full lips parting to allow a piece of fruit in. Her deep, red tongue, visible for but the briefest of moments. The way of all muscles in her face seemed to relax in bliss as sweet juices seeped into her mouth. The way she spoke, so soft and gentle, letting each sound hang in the air just briefly before intoning the next. She was distinctly feminine, in a different way than my mother. Apparently, Amy was going to be living at the Bollinger estate for some time. Mother was pleased to have another girl around. Or more specifically, she was relieved to have found someone other than my brothers for me to spend time with. I had assumed I would hate being around another girl. Surely, she wouldn't be able to play chess after all. But for some reason, I felt much less suffocated around her than my mother. One night, Amy's family and an array of nobles from both houses' social circles assembled at the estate for a party. A din the likes of which I had never heard in my life filled the great hall. Everywhere I looked, there were people. Servants scrambled every which way, silverware clanged against dishes in an almost constant hum. Voices from all directions. I felt moderately ill. So, introvert as well. Hey, D, I feel like we're critically short on waiters. This don't look good for us. And who was it who went about inviting everyone he came across again? Who are those people? They're artists like me. I met them at the court. Let's see. We have some painters, composers, sculptors, troubadours, poets, writers, you name it. None of them have any connection to the Joubert or Bollingers. Sure they do. They're my friends. And you know, this is me and Amy's party. You can play with your friends elsewhere. I hope you realize we have a reputation to uphold. Off in one corner, several men, presumably George's friends, gathered in a circle. They stood out from the other aristocrats, both in appearance and the air they gave off. The clothes they wore, the embroidery hidden beneath their jackets' cuffs, the manner of speech, the way they held themselves. They were, simply put, a far cry from the hard-headed Didier's ideal party guest. Even watching them from afar, it was clear my two brothers ran in very different crowds. The only reason headstrong Didier and free-spirited Georges were able to get along at all was because they were brothers. If they had been strangers, I doubt their paths would cross much, and if they did, those intersections would be quite rocky. Hey, come here, guys! George's shouting voice pulled my preoccupied mind back to the surface. He summoned his friends, and then led them to where I stood. What are you doing hiding in the corner, Michel? I didn't even notice you. Allow me to introduce you to a few of my friends. No. Georges put his hands on my shoulders, peeling me off the wall and standing me in front of his male friends. Socialization was the last thing on my mind. I searched for Didier, hoping he would come to my rescue, but he was off at trading pleasantries, facing away from me. This is my baby sister Michelle. Be nice. Georges, I don't... Gracious, your skin is even more pale than I imagined. It's like something out of a fairy tale. And why have you never brought her with you to the court? She'd be a sure hit. And how old are you now? 12, mayhap? Now, don't treat the lady like a child. I'll have you know she is 14. All the more reason she should be out there making friends. The whole court would flip if they knew you had such a gorgeous sister, Georges. Don't be a brute, man. Our little angel has to be kept inside for personal reasons. Uh-oh, sounds like I haven't been showing the lady her due respect. I've yet to even properly introduce myself. How rude, indeed. Their laughs grated on my nerves, and so did the way Georges spoke as though I was his property. They looked like they were appraising me, which made me sick to my stomach. I had been paying enough attention to notice the man who had asked if I was 12, and the rest of them too, examining me from head to toe in search of curves. In search of curves is a fucking insane line. I was, indeed, underdeveloped for 14. But what did that matter? I didn't want a body shaped like Amy's or my mother's. Now then, my lady, a proper greeting. A man got down on one knee before me. For a split second, I didn't comprehend what he was doing. Go on, Michel. He's waiting. He whispered into my ear. That was when it all came back to me, the traditional greeting performed between a man and a woman. Come on, Michel, don't tell me you forgot what to do. I knew the process. I had that knowledge. Mother had taught me the rules, shown me the procedure. I was to present my hand to the man, for him to kiss. All I had to do was hold out my hand, but I was frozen. My body fought tooth and nail against that simple act. The thought of that man putting his lips on my skin sent a chill through me. Why? Why was this a traditional greeting? Why did I have to go through this? Michel! But at the sound of George's frantic voice, my arm creaked up from my side. Then, I remembered that despite being his friends, they were still nobility. As wanton as his social interactions may have been, he still had a reputation to maintain. And I understood that. I also understood that, as their sister, it was my responsibility not to do anything that might tarnish either of my brothers' names. Also by tradition, the man wasn't supposed to actually kiss the woman's hand. The proper way to do it required that he simply mimic the act, rather than make a real contact. That much I could handle. The man kneeling before me gave me an uncomfortable chuckle at my reluctance, shrugged, and reverently took my hand in his. And then... he pressed his lips firmly against my skin, It was a vaguely warm sensation on the back of my hand for the briefest moment. What do you... Reflexively, I smacked the man's hand away. George's eyes went wide in horror, and the man gave another playful shrug. I was merely offering you a greeting, my lady. Or is even that a new experience to you? Your innocence is truly precious. I was a half a second away from showing a barrage of insults, but I bit my tongue and stomped off instead. Michelle! Hey, come back, Michelle! I had spent all that time convincing myself I couldn't humiliate my brothers, but now I wouldn't hear a word of it. I had drawn a fair bit of attention, and other people tried to stop me too, but I brushed them all off, marching my way out of the Great Hall. Yeah, I was cracking up there. I have said it so many times, but this is so beautifully written. The words get to you in this one. It's insane. I feel so dirty. You call that a greeting? No, that was no greeting, that was... I'll be taking that, I say, practically swiping a glass of water off a passing waiter's tray. With it, I wash my hand by the window facing the courtyard. But no matter how much water I poured over it, I couldn't erase the sickening sensation of his mouth on my hand. So I rubbed it with my sleeve until my skin was bright red. I wanted to feel something else, anything else, even pain. And that is why people do self-harm. Because that... I have never done it, but from my understanding is that jolt of pain covers up a world of hurt. You know? Think before you act, Georges. What were you doing inviting people like that into our home? I was angry, and I had every right to be. He had not performed a proper greeting. Even in jest, he had no business actually putting his lips on my hand. It was not acceptable behavior for an aristocrat. He was a guest. He should have been ashamed. Was I angry that he had been disrespectful? No, that wasn't the reason. It was... That wasn't very nice of you, running off like that. Is he gonna try something here? At the sound of his voice, I couldn't turn back. I felt a sickening warmth almost directly against my back. The man from the Great Hall grabbed me by the wrist, spun me around and pressed me against the wall. The bitter scent of wine wafted from above. What the hell are you doing? I tried a second time to get away from him, and that was when the reality sunk in. I couldn't do it. All the strength I could muster wasn't enough to make the man's hand budge. My arms were locked in place. I didn't think it was especially strong either. It was hardly built like Didier. And still, I couldn't move an inch. You got a tongue like a boy, my lady. But I know some people are fond of that these days. Can't say I'm on myself. Let go! Had I always been this feeble? Were my arms truly so worthless I couldn't even escape this brute's grip? Why did I have to get stuck with this body? Now, just so we're clear, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm no monster, I promise you that. Then why are you holding me against the wall? Because I want a chance to try and woo you. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable back there, but the second I laid eyes on you, I knew you were a keeper, even though you thought she was 12. And yes, I used she here, because that's what he thinks. They all think it. Then let go of me. But if I do that, you'll run away. And it's my personal rule to never let go of anything I like. Your brother says you can't go outside, so if I set you loose now, I might never get a chance to catch you again. I wanted to vomit. Apparently taking my silence for approval, the man perked up and kept going. If you're not accustomed to being around men, then why not use this as an opportunity to get familiar? Not a half bad idea if I do say so myself. And I think we'd get along quite well. Besides, I'm a minstrel. Spend some time with me and I'll write you all the songs you could possibly want. Get away from me! Ah, you really do have the most striking eyes. Makes me want to keep it all for myself. With a muse like that, I could write the most incredible songs you've ever heard. I said get back, you creep! Huh, That's odd. That one's never failed me. The man brought his face in just inches from mine and peered into my eyes. I could feel his hot, wine-stench breath against my cheeks. It gave me the chills. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. Panic and confusion had my heart racing. Go try your luck with someone else. I'm not interested. You will be soon enough, darling. You've simply never known a man's touch. He drew closer. He was already practically on top of me, but still he closed in. Closer and closer. The world faded out. I couldn't see anything. I could feel his rising body heat so near it made me nauseous. My eyes flung open, but there was nothing there. I could only feel. I couldn't move. My body wouldn't budge. In my mind, I kicked the man away, pulled my fist back and slammed it into his jaw. Again and again and again, until his face was unrecognizable. Again and again and again and again I beat him, but reality would have none of that. Michelle! Hey, what do you think you're doing? 3 seconds, 10 seconds, longer. I had no idea how much time I had lost. But the next thing I knew, Georges had the man by the collar. I fell back against the wall, staring absent-mindedly as the two struggled. They traded blows and they traded insults. Before long, they had drawn a crowd. While they went at it, I distractedly drifted away. And I only had one place to go. I didn't even bother to light a candle. I just stared into the darkness. My heartbeat was maddeningly loud in my otherwise silent chambers. What had happened? What had he done to me? Why couldn't I do anything? Last thing I wanted to do was cry. Tears would only serve to worsen my humiliation. Only magnify how wretched I was. Only make me more effete. Don't know that word. I bit down on my lip hard. I had no need for that trash on my body. I dug my nails into my arms. I had no need for that trash on my body. All of this, every last bit of it, that was why I was the way I was. I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to express this boundless frustration within me. But after enough wordless groaning, a single word slipped from my lips, and it felt incredibly right. God damn it! I knew good and well a girl should not be using such words. Even Didier and Georges would have gotten an earful from mother or father if they were caught saying that. Regardless. God damn it! It was the most fitting word I could come up with to represent even the smallest bit of my anger and loathing. I knew all I was doing was shifting the blame. That all it would accomplish was making me look pitiful. But I would take that over crying like a girl any day. Ugh. I let loose a sigh that was halfway to being a scream, and started clawing wildly at my hair. I wanted to yank out every last damn strand of it. I didn't want it. I didn't want any of it. Any of this body. But in that case, what did I want from my body? Michelle? May I come in, Michelle? It was George's voice, slightly muffled through the door. The man who had invited those people into this house. I would be lying if I said I didn't hold that against him. Michelle. But at the same time, he had also come to my rescue. Besides, I hated myself the most. I despised myself for being so helpless. I'm sorry, Michelle. I didn't mean to hurt you. It's not locked. After a few moments of silence, Georges stepped into my room. Your hair's a mess, Michelle. And my god, you're bleeding! That was when I first noticed a stinging sensation in my lower lip. A metallic taste spread through my mouth. I had been biting it much harder than I realized, and there was a lot more blood than I expected. A trail of it was running down my chin, seconds from spilling onto my clothes even when Georges wiped it away. I'm really sorry, Michelle. He can be a real ass when he drinks. And he's a bit of a womanizer at that. I never expected he'd try to go after you, though. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. But you know, there's a chance he may have generally taken a liking to you. That just makes it worse. Sorry. You're right. You want to be with a man you like, I understand. He ran his hand through my hair, as if trying to calm me down, at the same time cleaning up the mess I had made of it. It made me feel like I was some kind of a plaything. A joke of a doll. I don't... Huh? I don't want to be with anyone. I would never, ever be comfortable with a man putting his hands on me like that. However, I'm sure you'll find someone eventually, Michelle. Someone that feels right for you. I feel kind of awful for introducing you to him, but there are plenty of men in the world. You might not be interested now, but that'll change soon. It's part of growing up. You'd be best off forgetting today ever happened. I was dead certain, but apparently that wasn't enough to convince him. The very idea that I might one day meet a man who I wanted to touch made my skin crawl. Why? Why did I feel like this? Was I just not interested in men? No, if that were the case, I wouldn't admire my brother's bodies. That's a weird thing to say, but yeah, that is what body dysmorphia is. I have this shit, you have that stuff. I want that stuff. The admiration is different. I didn't have an aversion to men. I enjoyed spending time with my brothers far more than indulging my mother in her woman's world. What I couldn't stand was the particular look a man would sometimes give me. But why? Why did I not like that? I had no answer. My thoughts were only going in circles. Are you okay, Michelle? He peered down at me, his face twisted in concern. But I couldn't answer him. How was I supposed to articulate this? My anger, my frustration, my irritation, my fear. I had no confidence he would understand. Georges, how's Michelle? Amy's voice came from the doorway. Inexplicably, I felt like someone had stuck their hand in my chest and was now squeezing my heart. Like I had just been caught in a compromising situation by the last person I wanted to see. Yeah, she's doing good, aren't you? Yes, I'm fine. Glad to hear it. I was clearly lying, not even looking him in the eyes when I said that, but that seemed to have gone over George's head. Amy, on the other hand. You don't look fine at all, she said, a hint of pain in her voice, and then entered the room. Georges, father was asking for you. He says it's time to bring the gathering to a close. You should get going. I'll stay here with her. Oh, is he? Alright then. Sounds good. Once the sound of George's footsteps had faded into nothing, Amy took a seat beside me and without warning wrapped her arms around my shoulders. It's much better to talk to another girl at times like this. My heart leapt into my throat, but beyond the shock, I also found myself welcoming the warmth. It was pleasant, unlike the man's. That must have been terrifying. But don't worry, you're safe now. It wasn't really, no. No need to pretend, sweetie. If a man had pinned me against the wall, I'd be scared too. I mean it. I wasn't scared. I'm just disappointed in myself. Alright, I believe you. You're a strong girl, Michelle. There aren't many who wouldn't have been scared. I'll be sure to give Georges a stern talking to about his choice in friends. Something I learned today is that he is somewhat of a pushover. You're a lot more tenacious than I thought. As a woman in this world, you have to be. And if you're not, well, you'll figure that out soon enough, Michelle. Of course, even as strong as you are, I'm sure it'll be difficult to forget what happened to you today. Georges had told me to forget it as soon as possible, and Amy that I wouldn't be able to. Was it the difference in their individual perspectives, or was it the difference between the way men and women thought? I wasn't sure. As my head rested against her breast, a bit of my frustration slipped out. I couldn't move my arms at all. He didn't even seem all that strong. I couldn't believe that I was really so weak. That's just the way of the world, Michelle. Men are physically stronger than women, so you'll almost never overpower one. You're not any weaker than a normal girl. Don't blame yourself. Though it wasn't the consolation I had hoped for, her words still filled me with warmth. I had explored my own weakness to hear more of that soothing voice, and I alone knew how foolish I was in doing so. But that will actually be the end of today's episode. Yeah, we are. So this entire thing is not only about how Michelle figure out that he's a man, but also about how the one person he falls in love with is the wrong person for so many reasons. It wasn't that he was simply in love with his brother's fiancée. It was that he was a woman when he was in love with another woman. Yeah, gonna be complicated. But either way, thank you guys for watching, and thank you Josef for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye everyone.